YouTube, what it do? You know the motto. If you can, go over there, hit me with a like, which is the thumbs up, and that'll let me know we sending our stuff. This right here, I had somebody out the comment section that had asked me about the 92 riots. You know what I'm saying? About the 92 riots, like, how did it trigger and affect the turf? And what status was the homies on during the 92 riots along with the peace treaty thing, homie? So, bam, okay, the 92 riots, as everybody know, homie, it was a ripple effect stemming from the beating of Rodney King, homie. You know what I'm saying? And so after, the verdict was going through or whatever, and the not guilty verdict had hit the streets, from my knowledge at that time, not really catching the news, but just hearing it through the street since the nigga was just hanging out, it was that the Crips in LA on Western by the surplus store, these dudes had started to get cracking with pushing the thing with peace. Them hoods had started vandalizing, tearing up shit, kind of grouping in the rebelliousness against the Rodney King verdict, homie. So now if we hearing, dudes is driving over to this place and people coming back and we starting to hear what's going on, the homie said, fuck it, homie, we gonna take off in the turf and tear shit up in the turf, homie. And at that time, where Rafts is at on LeBron Centinela, that was Boyce Market, homie. So we ran in there and hit Boyce Market, hit the 7-Eleven, and hit different other little stores that was inside our community, homie. That later we found out, man, we just didn't do nothing but help tear up the hood more and take away the things that we needed at that time, the store, the food, different little essential values, homie. Now to flip into, okay, so that goes in, the looting goes in. So now, homie, people just forming crews and squads inside they turf to go out and set out and see, can we rob, jack, steal, loot, take, whatever, homie. So now you got groups of guys meeting up, inside neighborhoods, homie. And we going to other little spots, homie. We trying to hit swap meets. They had a little swap meet over there by the jungles. Motherfuckers was all up in there. And motherfuckers just is in the street roaming, homie, just looking at the chaos, homie. This from a street, homie, that was banging in them times in the street. We just looking at everything in the street, dog. And as we in traffic and shit, because I remember riding with some older homies of mine and shit. And I remember we, in traffic, shit is crazy, streets tore up. And like I said, you got different crews of Crips and Bloods that's in these streets, homie. Motherfuckers in back of motherfucking Ram trucks, pickup trucks and shit deep. And if people was still, we was carrying firearms too. You know what I'm saying, during this time, dog. And I remember we pulled up on the side of some Crips. They was Pendleton out. Fools had shotguns. And one fool had a handgun hanging out the window. They was blue Pendleton down. And I remember, I don't know if we was at a light or something. I was with my homeboys and shit. And they was like G-Half, the big homeboy, older homeboy I consider as a big homeboy to me. He told me like, hey, nigga, hold your head down. Nigga, duck and don't come back up till I say come up. Because we didn't know what that shit was going to lead into, homie. And, so bam, we wound up getting through that, dog. And like I say, the streets was total chaos and everybody really, really wasn't knowing what was going on. So if you still was flamed up, we happened to be flamed up. So if you was flamed up, still going to these different spots, you might have an altercation, homie. Because I remember in some of the spots we was slipping, just touring through LA, dog. We wind up having exchanges and shit with some Crips and shit at that time, dog. So, like I said, and so now to go into that now, the peace treaty thing started revolving around that. So now people was going around trying to see what hoods wanted to involve themselves in the peace treaty, who wanted to be down, and what hoods decided to be cool with what hoods. You know what I'm saying? So the peace treaty get down, homie. So I remember they had something in Watts, homie. I believe it was in the PJs over in the Watts. So it was me, my homeboy Big GSD, the homeboy Big 211 PIP, and the homeboy Lil Falas from Inglewood family, dog. We decide, I think Lil Falas came through our turf, and we happened to be hanging out, drinking, and just, posted up. And then I guess the thing was they having something to watch. So we all contemplating like, man, y'all niggas want to go over there, nigga, blood, what y'all think? So we push, niggas is banged out. So we push over there, flamed out. Like I said, me, Big GSD, Big 211 PIP, and the homie Lil Falas. We smashed it at PJs, homie. So when we get up in there, nigga, it's like, nigga, it's like Crip capital in that motherfucker. Homie, Crips everywhere, homie. You seen sprinkles of homie, but nigga, it was blue everywhere, homie. So we up in there functioning, homie. And I remember a gang of Crips and shit, they had seen the homeboy, Big GSD. They knew him from fighting and shit. Niggas like, hey, homie, you remember when you slammed me on the coat, right? Hey, homie, remember when you did this? So niggas is walking up and telling the homeboy this. So in the midst of so many motherfuckers coming up telling the homie about squabs they didn't have with this nigga altercation, we kind of looking at each other like, nigga might try to air us out in this motherfucker. We was thang, but we like, nigga might try to air us out in this motherfucker. So to dig into the story more, up in we was up in the PJs, homie. So at that time, I'm young. I'm only knowing a couple dudes from camp, juvenile system that I know. Dude named Donut from PJs, and I think another dude. I want to say his name is PJ, but I'm not sure. But I knew these dudes from juvenile jailing and shit. But it's so many motherfuckers. You not gonna see them dudes, and nigga not asking. We young at that time, so our name and our styles ain't really super hype like that. Niggas is known, but it ain't super hype like that. So I remember them niggas get the busting over there. Pop, 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 pop. All them niggas busting heats out. So nigga not knowing if these niggas finna turn on niggas or what. This what I'm thinking young and shit. So I'm like kind of like, low stepping through the gunfire and shit. So I tell the homies, I'm young. I'm like, blood, I'm ready to get up out of here, blood. I don't even feel comfortable, homie. And Lil Falas and the other homeboys them, everybody kind of feeling the same note. So I remember a rip dude, he was like, hey, homie, can I get a ride out of here? But we still like, nigga, this shit is a trip. Like, nigga asking for a ride. Like, nigga, you can get in the car full of bloods, nigga, and Mike can get it, homie. But dudes really wasn't tripping like that, homie. So anyway, homie, to cut into that shit, after that shit, we wound up pushing back to the turf and shit. We all wound up going to the hood. And we was just, as we talked in our turf, a couple homies had came, we were stubborn-minded young, but a few homeboys had came to agreement like, dog, we not peacing over here. So we remember, like the next day or some shit, niggas is still going through different hoods trying to see who with it, because it wasn't like social media where niggas can say, dog, it's a peace treaty, nigga, we over here. We didn't have this broadcast and social media, so dudes were still going to taking chances, going to different hoods, to try to see who all was gonna be a part of the movement. And I remember the turf, we was like, nah, homie, we not fucking with it, because some rips had came through the hood, and they was strapped too, like, homie, what's up with y'all, and the homies niggas ran and got heat, and we came back out, and they was like, we ain't doing it over here, homie, and they was like, all right, homie, and they pushed off and shit. And I remember nights into that, nigga, like I say, shit was going on. We was going through it. And I remember one of them nights doing the riots, homie, we have a high-speed chase. Me, the homeboy Q-Ball, BIP, a few more homeboys, dog. We high-speed chased the police, homie. Through our turf, wind up cracking damn near by our turf. Everybody spread out and shit. Niggas did. And I remember I hit the hood the next morning. Niggas was like, man, where you was at? Niggas thought they lost me and shit out there because it was dangerous in the streets. They didn't know I was able to get out the car and make it, inside the hood safe. But my peoples at that time from 40s, you know what I'm saying, R.I.P. Lil Snaps, he stayed in my turf, homie. His mom and them, they reside in the turf. So I was able to run, hit some cuts, and get up in there and just spend the night and lay low, because the streets was chaos. until the next morning and actually walk and get inside of the turf, homie, and get to where all the homeboys was at. But that's just a brief rundown on the little transpiring I could recall of the 92 riots, homie, with Rodney King and the peace treaty and how the homies kind of functioned and moved, dog. So, G shit, not ye shit. And we just serving content. I'm out.